anyone who is against this manager is quite frankly agenda driven. You're not a proper Chelsea fan if you actively want him to leave.
I find him really frustrating to watch.
Yeah, he's
really.
the exact player that he was at Brighton. He's no different.
I mean, that just tells you he's a mid-table player.
Hello and welcome back to the Chelsea Sun Sport YouTube channel. We're here with a very festive episode for you after Christmas. We hope you had a lovely Christmas. This is actually being recorded though before Chelsea have faced off against Aston Villa. So we're going to basically do a bit of a half-season review for you guys watching, and I'm joined by Alex Harris from Chelsea Van TV and George, SDPeasyy, as you might know him on TikTok or other social platforms. How are you both?
Very well. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, really good. Really excited about this. Yeah, good.
Good?
We're in the Christmas spirit.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what we like to hear. George has got his Christmas jumper on. He's clearly excited for the festive period. And we've got one here as well with Drogba on the back. We want to get started really with a bit of background because me and George actually have known each other for quite a long time.
Yeah, really long time. Yeah, we played 11-side football together for probably at least 5 or 6 years together, didn't we? Probably more than 5 years ago now. Don't know if the legs would carry 11-a-side anymore, but yeah, we played with each other for a long time, and then obviously both ended up going our separate ways, and now ended up back together in the same studio.
It's weird how you get kind of brought back together after a long time. But yeah, good to see you. Pleasure to have you here. And Alex, of course, is basically semi-regular at this point. He always seems to be back. But yeah, so what we're going to do, we're going to basically have a look back at the first half of the season. As we mentioned, we haven't played Villa as this is recorded. This has been just after the Newcastle game. But I've got a few questions to start off with, just about the season in general as a whole. Out of 10, how would you both rate the season so far?
Probably like a 7.5. Maybe an 8. So I'm not disappointed. I think 7.5 is right because I'm pretty happy with what we've done. Look, we've definitely had some bad games where it's gone wrong, but I also probably didn't expect to go into the season and tear apart Barcelona. Be the better team with less players on the pitch than Arsenal, who are clearly the best team in the country, if not maybe the world at the minute.
Yeah,
and beat Liverpool comfortably, who won the league at an ease last year, but then we're still doing the same problems we sort of always do and struggling in the smaller games, and players sort of maybe not being prepared to turn up for a Leeds away in comparison to Barcelona at home, prime TV slot compared to midweek cold day. Some of the players maybe still haven't quite learned that yet, but I think realistically, if you said to me now, look, we'll be fourth at Christmas, we'll be into the Carabao Cup semi-finals, and we'll be still in with a chance of progressing through the top 8 of the Champions League, I'd have been pretty happy with that, I think.
How about you, Alex?
I'm inclined to agree. I would have just said a flat 7, but for me, a lot of I can speak for match-going fans. I'm guessing you go.
Season ticket holder, yeah.
Perfect. So, when you're going to the games, I think it's really different than when people are watching on the telly, because it's not just about results. It's about the experience. It's about the entertainment. I remember last season. And last season, we were flying high. And this season, people say we've regressed. And I go, well, last season we were able to play 2 starting 11s, one in the Conference League and in the cup competitions, which we didn't take seriously. This year we've had to actually learn to rotate, and we're still in all major competitions. So I think that's a positive. The Carabao Cup being one. I remember Newcastle last season.
Yeah.
And I think that we're maturing, so if I'm comparing it from last season in terms of the entertainment standpoint, I'd say it's probably not as good. Results in the Premier League, not as good. But I actually do think we're moving forward. So for me, I'm happy, I'm content. We're in the FA Cup, we're in the Carabao Cup, and there's still a chance to qualify past the league phase in the Champions League. So it's been decent. It's not been amazing, but I don't see why people should start complaining now.
No. Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with kind of both of you. I'd probably go around a 7.5 as well. I think because of the context of the season, with Cole Palmer and Colwill being the main thing, both of them being absent for so long, it's hard to expect a better than what we've got now. I think if we're going to be in a title race, competing on all fronts for all those trophies, I think we need our best centre half and our best attacker fit.
Yeah, that's like a massive piece of context that has to be put on this season. Like you've lost your best player for, he's played 5-6 games this season. your best centre-half, who, especially at the end of last season, was really starting to come into his own, and in the Club World Cup, lose him, one day into pre-season for the whole season. That you can't account for that, and we know the likes of Wesley Fofana, he's having a great season, but he's still not fully up there to be able to play every game.
Yeah.
And then some of the depth, has caused us problems at the back this year, whereas that wouldn't be an issue if Colwill had been fit, because they, players who have struggled more in games probably wouldn't be playing.
Yeah.
And if they were, they'd be subs rather than starting. So I think, like I say, if we'd gone into the season with a fully fit Cole Parham and a fully fit Colwill, and we were where we are now, then I think I'd be maybe more disappointed. But, losing you two of your very key players, still being in everything and fourth, could be a lot worse.
It definitely could. We're going to play a little bit of a festive game that I've called Naughty or Nice, where I've chosen some players from the Chelsea team that perhaps split opinion a little bit this season so far. And we're going to get you to say whether they're naughty or nice, and then after you've said your naughty or nice, we'll discuss why you think so, and hopefully there'll be a couple of disagreements. I was speaking to one of my Chelsea supporting friends yesterday who doesn't watch every Chelsea game, and it was really interesting actually. He's just like a casual fan. His girlfriend's dad supports Chelsea, so he's kind of following along. And it's really interesting actually to see how your kind of average casual Chelsea fan differs to someone who goes to every game in terms of their opinions. So we'll start off with a player who goes by the name of Malo Gusto.
Nice. Yeah, definitely nice.
Very nice.
Yeah, really good.
He's been a good boy this year.
Yeah, he's been brilliant, I think. And he massively improved, I think, from last season, because his first season was really good.
With Pochettino,
when he was brilliant. And then last season, it kind of dipped a bit. But I feel like something about Gusto is he always seems to pop up in the big games. When you need a big performance from him, he plays really well. But I do think he's got that same kind of really poor performance in him as well.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
I mean, you say that though. Even like Atalanta, when he was playing as a 10, it didn't come off. But I was having this discussion. I got slated for it. I see a player that understands his role more in the team.
Oh,
whether he's able to execute what he's been asked to do is one thing, but I see him making the runs. I see him trying to do those passes, and then what's he on 3 GA this season?
Yeah, which is compared
That's
to
his best season ever.
Yeah. Okay, next one, Robert Sanchez.
Nice again, definitely.
Yeah, nice.
We've discussed Robert Sanchez a few times in previous episodes, and we think he's been brilliant this season.
He's been great.
But interestingly, he's one of the ones when I spoke to my mate yesterday, he said, we should have got Donnarumma. Sanchez is rubbish.
Donnarumma's not even been that great. See, that's the thing, though.
Like we were saying before we started, this might be also a bit of a generation thing. Like, my dad's still not really sold on Sanchez, and I'm sort of like, well, the guy's joint for clean sheet. I think he's one behind now, maybe right up there for clean sheets. Great assist against Newcastle at the weekend, and is also just much improved. Like, I remember the first season, watching him trying to claim crosses was painful, and now he comes out and he sort of claims everything. I don't see him drop many, fumble many. He comes up in the big moments, and some people, still won't buy it because they're too set on the idea that we could do better. But again, he has massively improved this season. I just think in all aspects of his game.
Do you think you're now happy with Robert Sanchez kind of going forwards? Because there was previously, before this season, like last season, there was a lot of talk about Petrovic, and now we're going to probably recall Penders in the summer. He'll come back and probably be second choice. Do you think Sanchez, you're happy with Sanchez as your starting keeper next season?
If it's Sanchez and Penders, I don't think I'm disappointed at all. I mean, look, I was quite big on Petrovic last season. I thought he was great when he played. However, I don't know whether you've watched him a lot at Bournemouth. It hasn't really worked. I don't think he's been very good at Bournemouth at all. I think he's really struggled there. I think it was the Man United game the other week where he sort of fluffed one in through his own hands into the net, and he seems to do that quite consistently this season. So maybe he wasn't the guy, and maybe Penders will be. No, I'm not going to claim I'll watch every single Strasbourg game, but if he comes in as a 2 and learns and then eventually becomes the number 1, I'm pretty happy with that.
Okay, next one is Trevor Chalobah.
Good boy when he plays with Fofana. Otherwise, he's a very naughty boy.
Yeah, exactly that. When he plays with Tosin, incredibly naughty. Fofana, nice. Yeah, I'll give you that.
That's pretty much, again, we're not disagreeing much here, but I think he's very 50-50. Like, he can be such a good defender, like really strong, physical, good in the air, good on the ground, and then sometimes he just has those days, but they're for me they're too common.
Yeah,
so I think actually I'm gonna go with. Oh, it's hard.
It literally depends on who he plays with.
I want to say.
It does depend on who he plays with.
Nice. 6 out of 10.
Yeah.
Times.
I think he's nice more times than he's naughty.
I mean, to be fair, against Newcastle, Fofana and Chalobah were both the reasons we conceded those goals, weren't they?
The first
Fofana gave it away and then Chalobah slipped.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not a great example, really. But apart from that, it's been a great
had a lot of good games together. They've kept a lot of clean sheets together. So, yeah, he's like teetering right in the middle, depending on who he plays with.
Okay, next up is João Pedro. And I want you to think about the whole season, because obviously he scored a brilliant goal against Newcastle, but I want you to think about the season as a whole here.
On a whole, I'm probably going nice, but I think I'm bigger on João Pedro, and I think a lot of other people are. And I speak to a lot of other people that aren't very big on João Pedro at all. And look, what he did in the Club World Cup, I know that technically isn't this season, but what he did in the Club World Cup was outstanding, and started the season incredibly well, had this really dry patch where it wasn't good at all, and he also wasn't performing in games, didn't look like he was trying.
Yeah.
But then, like you say, the last couple of games he has looked a lot better, so I'd go nice, but I can understand why people wouldn't, because he has had very bad games for us this season.
I'm undecided. I really don't know, because I said after, I think it was the Bournemouth game, I thought he was the Brazilian Kai Havertz.
Yeah. I saw that video, yeah.
I'll be totally honest with you. I mean, I'll give him credit for the goals he scored. The Newcastle goal was fantastic.
Yeah.
I thought when we went down to 10 against United, he was a player that was really leading the lines. So it's not like he hasn't got character. He's definitely got it. But I just look at what he did at Brighton. I've never been inspired by the signing.
Yeah.
There's probably a little bit of bias there because he cost 60 million.
Yeah.
People say, why are you so harsh on João Pedro and not Delap? We cost twice as much, so surely I should have a bigger expectation.
Yeah.
But he's been all right. He's been okay.
I'm going to say naughty for João Pedro. Because
naughty?
I think he's got the quality.
I can understand why.
And we saw in the Newcastle, that goal was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah,
and like you said, we saw in the Club World Cup, he's had these moments, these flashes of showing that he can be the Chelsea number 9. He can play that position for Chelsea. He can be what they need. But for me, it's just far too inconsistent. And I find when he's not on the score sheet, I find him really frustrating to watch in how he kind of moves around the pitch. Like, he can be quite slow and lackluster, and I find him really frustrating when he's not having a good game. And I don't think those good games have been frequent enough this season.
Do you boys see him as a 10 or a 9?
Yeah, see, this is look, if he's going to be our 9 going forward, then no.
That's the only role I can see him playing.
But then also, just he's not going to play in the 10 when Palmer and Enzo are both available. That just is never going to happen. And when one thing I will say, I think he plays a lot better when he plays with Palmer. I think you noticed a massive drop off when he didn't play with Palmer. He sort of struggled to link with players in the way that he did with Palmer when Palmer was available. I like him. He has his moments, but this is just, I think, a lot of the same things that people said about him at Brighton. He had 5 amazing games, then he had 5 games where he ghosted by. Yeah, he's the exact player that he was at Brighton. He's no different.
I mean, that just tells you he's a mid-table player. If
potentially,
potentially.
Yeah.
If this is a team that's wants to fight for serious trophies and titles, I don't think he's your number one choice as a striker if you want to win. He's not a long-term answer.
No.
I don't think.
It could be a good rotation option, but I think you've still got to sign a top striker.
I agree. And the last one we're going to go for is Alejandro Garnacho.
A good boy. He's been a good boy.
I'm very keen on the nice here. I like Garnacho a lot. I was very not keen on the signing, don't get me wrong. But
then keen on the signing?
Not originally. Okay. Not when it was quoted at like 50, 60 million. And I was like, whoa, no, absolutely, what are we doing? No way. When it became, 35, 40 in the end?
40, yeah.
And I'm sort of looking at it going, right, he's 21, he has a lot of ability. It's a market opportunity. Even if it doesn't work, he's not really going to lose a lot of value at that age. You're still going to probably recoup all of the value if it doesn't work.
You sound like Igbali.
Well, I feel like the owner. Yeah, I feel like talking like the owners at this place. But I also just think, I've always said this. I love a player who's a chance magnet, and I understand that not everyone loves that because people want a winger who's clinical, who's direct. But if you give me a winger, takes your man on 9 times out of 10, 7 out of 10 times beats him, may not always find the perfect cross, may not always have the shot on goals we saw against Everton, or the chances he missed in that game, but I just prefer a player that excites me compared to like a Grealish who, when he went to Man City and was told, right, cut back, I'd take Garnacho losing the ball 9 times out of 10 in a game over that.
You look at Gittins as well, and I always say that Garnacho's missed, let's just say, 10 chances. I mean, God, it felt like it against Newcastle.
Yeah.
But how many of those chances would Gittins have been in the right position to even be in that position in the first place? And I think that
less than half.
Garnacho's happy to take the risk and almost be embarrassed by missing all those chances, but he's still got the character to go again and again and again. And that, for me, is a great trait to have. It's such a rare trait as well, especially with young wingers.
One of my favourite qualities about him. Yeah.
But it's a law of averages. Eventually, you got to score a few goals, right? I mean, he scored 2 against Cardiff. I think that for me, he just suits the system.
Yeah.
And if you've got a player with end product, then I think hands down he starts for Chelsea every week. Even still, I'd still start him ahead of Gittins. But I mean, you just look at the end product and then you see Morgan Rogers and players like that just able to put the ball in the back of the net so easily. And it does make you think, I'd quite fancy just spending an extra 40 million, which in Chelsea's day, we're happy to do as long as it fits into the wage structure, but it won't happen.
Not now.
But I mean, people are too harsh on Garnacho. They're too harsh, and we didn't pay ridiculous money for the guy. It was a fair deal. United wanted to get rid of him. We wanted him. We met in the middle, and I think that he's been decent. But having said that, if he continues doing what he's doing now, it's not good enough.
No, he needs to progress. He does need to progress. Yeah, 100%. But I was like in the same way that, again, I think he's a player that also is maybe split opinion on generation. Again, there was a guy on your channel a couple of weeks ago who sort of came on after, I think it was the Sunderland game, which he'd scored in, which we lost, and he sort of came on and was like, I don't like that he takes private jets, I don't like his hair, and I'm like,
he got a haircut the next day.
And I'm like, did you hear that? I did see it literally. I'm like, you're just using an agenda there, you're not talking about the footballer at all. And it's just like, I think maybe people who are slightly older just immediately see those things in his game and go, right, I don't like you immediately, and things like his brother at the Man United and whatever. I like him. I think I'm more than happy to wait and see him develop.
Okay, give us 1 or 2, depends on how quick your thinking is, players you'd like to see join Chelsea.
I think you just spoke about one that I'd have loved in the summer in Morgan Rogers, but I can't see that happening anymore because it'll be a lot of money, and also, could you play him in the same team as all these players who've still bought? I mean, probably. You probably could shoehorn him in, but is it worth buying a player to shoehorn in for no reason? Might as well just stick with the players you've got that are already playing those positions. Centre-back is obviously still the priority, I think. Yeah, I think if you can go out and get Gahey on a free in January, or pay for him in January or get him free in summer, and you can get ahead of these teams like Liverpool or Real Madrid, he's easily my number 1 target. It's just, you need someone who's consistent and plays every week. He's a captain, he's a leader, he's just perfect. Been at the club before. Yeah. That is literally the perfect signing.
Semenyo's another one with I think he's got a 65 million release clause until January 10th. But that's a frustrating one because he has to play on the right. So then you're saying, what about Neto? What about Esteval? And it's just one of those things.
Palmer.
Yeah. So on the left, we'd take whatever we can get. I like Garnacho, but I appreciate there's much better out there. Whereas on the right, I'm very comfy.
I'm not really interested in the right hand side at all. Really, anything right hand side is pretty solid now, really, isn't it? And it literally is just centre back. And if Lavia and Asugo can't stay fit, maybe a midfielder.
You know who I would love as that midfield player is Kobbie Mainoo. I just think about something about him. He just, even though he's Man United through and through, born and bred, he just strikes me as a Chelsea player. With this current team, I think he's the profile of signing that they just would love. Like, they've proven they like these kind of young players where it hasn't necessarily worked out wherever they are. Your Garnachos, your Cole Palmers.
Exactly, these
kind of Manchester as well, Liam Delap. And I just think Mainoo is perfect in that, because Lavia's fitness, obviously, and Asugo's if Asugo's fitness hasn't necessarily been a problem before.
You can't really judge that until he starts playing and see how he goes.
But I think Mainoo, he's the type of player that you could get on a cheap, and he can
only want like 45 million for him.
Yeah, when he was at Man United, I was like, this kid is amazing. I can't believe
who'd you sacrifice though? Who'd you sacrifice?
I think this is only if one of them cannot stay fit. Like this is like Lavia.
I'm thinking of like Andre Santos. What are we doing there? That's what I'm thinking.
So then I think he's good rotation with he's good rotation with Enzo, I think, or maybe Caicedo. Like, he can play
we're looking at cover for Caicedo mostly. Then
that's more my
right.
I mean, Lavia is the perfect player. I've got no issue with Lavia at all, but he cannot stay fit. And if he can stay fit, I don't want Kobbie Mainoo. But if he can't stay fit, that's a great signing.
I don't know. I'll take Kobbie Mainoo anyway. The last thing we're going to talk about is the manager. We're going to talk about Enzo Maresca. We had a quick chat before we started filming about Enzo Maresca, and there's obviously been a lot of talk in the last couple of weeks about him and his comments, and now potentially replacing Pep at Man City. I think that shows the kind of calibre of manager he is if they're already looking at him. What are your thoughts on Maresca, and do you want him to stay?
I'm with him till the end. Yeah, I'm with him till the end on this. I think he's the right guy. I think he proved last season. Look, I know we were meant to win the Conference League. I understand that we're the best team in it. But look at Palace. Look, everyone said that every Premier League team that entered that would win it. Palace are 10th.
Strasbourg are going to win it.
That's what I mean. They're not. Palace haven't exactly gone in and blown everyone away, have they? And Palace are a good team.
Exactly.
And the Club World Cup, everyone's like, oh, pre-season tournament, still beat the best team in the world 3-0.
And nobody fancied Chelsea to win.
No, not a chance. We won, but not even Chelsea fans did. I don't think anyone went into that tournament. We all just went into that tournament going, be nice to watch a bit of football.
Bit of money.
Did you like Maresca last season?
I was up and down on him.
Okay, because I fully hated him.
I was up and down.
And I've been converted.
So what?
Like before
You've been
Christmas.
converted.
I've been converted.
So give us your thoughts on Maresca now.
Well, I went from
What's
last...
changed?
He has a CV now. He has shown that he can win trophies, multiple trophies. He's shown that he can find enough consistency to get us into the Champions League. And to be honest with you, I just think that I'm seeing players improving. We spoke about injuries earlier. We're missing our centre-back. Delap's out injured. Problems in midfield with Lavia and Asugo, all these different things. I see Gusto step up. I see Sanchez step up. I see him developing players that some people had lost hope in, like Garnacho at Man United. I think Garnacho is developing. Having said that, we still need to see more. So, all in all, Maresca, anyone who is against this manager is quite frankly agenda driven, and
100%.
You have no. You're not a proper Chelsea fan if you actively want him to leave. I see people celebrating on Twitter, when we've lost games, at least we're one step closer.
It's painful to read, isn't it?
To sacking Maresca and getting rid of... the ownership aren't going to change their model. We were joking about it before. Russell Martin's on the market, so if you sack Maresca, maybe we'll bring him in.
I think that's my biggest point.
Expansive football and all the rest of it.
Who you don't want Maresca? Who? Tell me who.
Yeah,
everyone I've ever spoken to cannot tell me a name that is available that would suit the model. Who maybe even if some top managers became available, do all top managers want to come in and deal with a really young squad that is still developing? A lot of them would want to come in and sign players they want who are 26, 27, 28 years old. We're not going to do that. That isn't going to happen. They're not going to change that whole idea. And like you said, that he has brought on players in development, and I think also, I think he's got a good part to play in the fact that we've seen Reece James available for over a year now. We've seen Wesley Fofana play, a majority of this season, which we haven't for 3 or 4 years. Colwell's completely unlucky. You can't justify for that. And Lavia, I don't think anyone could keep him fit. But Reece and Fofana, I just think are such examples of players we haven't seen consistently. And yes, I understand it's not all Maresca, but he's definitely had a part to play in why we're seeing these players on a more consistent basis. And people wanted to sell Reece James when he wasn't fit, and now it's like, oh well, he's now one of the best players in the world. Not even just right back because he can play in midfield. I don't see people complain about these things anymore. Maresca has to have had something to do with that.
Well, if you would have said to me that we're going to bring in a manager that is going to invert Gusto, invert James, and in my opinion, with James at least, play some of his best football in his career since back when Tuchel was managing us, and still have that flexibility to be able to do that in the midfield and change him halfway through the game and put him as a right back and have that sort of versatility. I think that's the dream for any manager, but not everyone can make their right back. A midfielder, and that's not just with one player. That's two. We were complaining when Gusto was playing in the 10, and then the next week he ended up scoring a goal and getting an assist.
Playing from the 8.
I've never heard of a manager before Maresca that has been able to do something like that in my life. Is there a manager that you can think of? I know Poch did it with Cucurella.
The only one is maybe Pep. Because then that's where he's learnt it from, isn't it? That's right. He is one of Pep's disciples, if you must. He's one of those, like the company, Arteta, these managers that have learned in that system and have taken that system and they put their own tweaks on it. It's not the same as Pep Guardiola's football. Arteta's isn't, neither's companies at Bayern Munich. But you can see the influences are there 100%, and I just think if you don't want Maresca, I really struggle to have a conversation with you about it, and not get frustrated. I don't understand what your thinking is.
I'm very inclined to agree with you guys, and I think we've done a pretty good job at wrapping up the halfway point of Chelsea season. I think we've done all right there. We've covered pretty much everything. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe and comment down below. Let us know what you think 2026 has got in store for Chelsea. I hope you had a lovely Christmas and a very good New Year as well. We'll see you very soon. Bye.